Welcome to another beautiful day in paradise. Antigua and Barbuda is the sailing centre of the world, and that is inarguable, especially if you live here. But you can do any sort of sailing if you want. You could just go out on an optimist, you can go out on a dinghy, you can go out on a keel boat ranging from anything from 15 feet to 300. You can eel sail on the super yachts, and some of them do have sails. Or, even better, you could go on a masted schooner. And my guest is Nevin Audain, who is just about to set off on the tall ship, Eendracht. Nevin, how did all that come about?
So when I was about 7, I went to the sail academy and they told me, hey, you're too young to sail. But my brother was going there, so I just ended up watching him on the docks. So after a while of watching him on the docks, they said, hey, let's see how this guy is doing. Let's take him on a boat. And they eventually liked how I was sailing, so they let me on a boat. Now after a couple of years of sailing, so around 2018, I was introduced to the Wish Foundation.
That's the West Indies Sail Heritage Foundation, isn't it?
Yeah, the West Indies Sail Heritage Foundation. They were handing out forms for crew, to recruit crew to see who wanted to go on the classic, who wanted to participate on the classic regatta. I was too young at the time. I was about 12. They told me like, hey, we can't take you this young. I was just a small boy. And I said, I was so eager to go. So I said, hey, I'll bring my brother if you let me go on. And they were like, they hesitated on how they're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, very persuasive.
Yeah. Now after a while of putting in the hours, the time, everything, the effort, showing up on time, eventually found me a spot on the Eendracht, and that's how it came about.
And that is pretty impressive, and some of the things you said there, you put in the work and you arrived on time. Now these are key things, aren't they?
Yep. You got to understand that when you're going to something like, say, a job interview, you need to show up on time. That's to let the employer know that, hey, this person is willing to do the job, he's ready to show up, he's not wasting any time. Showing up late won't help you.
That is a good point. Now I know Billy and Charlotte would not have let you on board New Moon unless they really were impressed with you. So that's quite an achievement, isn't it?
Yep.
And you were 7 years old when you stood on that dock watching your brother sail off.
Yes.
And you've gone quite quickly from the Optimist. You sailed in the Optimist, the
Yes,
first one.
the Optimist, and then the Pico, and then New Moon,
And now this. So how did you actually get this position on Eendracht?
well, I had to send in a resume of all the times I've sailed, send in with a backstory.
And you had to show that you'd done all this, and presumably Billy and Charlotte with the Wish Foundation recommended you because they knew how hard you'd worked.
They backed it up, kind of, yeah.
So tell me a bit about Eendracht. Now it's a master schooner. Is it a schooner?
Yes, it's good.
It's a schooner. Tell me a little bit about it. What is the idea of Eendracht?
Well, it's a non-profit organization that helps youngsters get more interested and more in-depth with the maritime industry.
And is the maritime industry something you're interested in?
Yep. I'd like to be an engineer on a vessel. Preferably working up to my own vessel.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? So what are you studying at the moment?
I'm studying automotive engineering at Abyss.
So this is a good start to get what the qualifications you need.
Yeah.
So when you go up to, it's the BVIs this is going to, isn't it?
Yes.
The Eendracht. What is the journey? How many days is it?
From what I know, it's 10 days. I'm not sure how long the sail will be, but I know it can't be probably about more than like 5 days or something like that to get up there.
And what's going to be your job on board?
My job, I don't have a specific job, but I'm giving myself a job just to ask anybody if they need help. learn as much as I can on that boat.
That is a good idea. Your enthusiasm is really clear. I'm sure you're going to do really well there. And that's say that's 9 or 10 days. I think it's supposed to be the whole trip. Do you sail back down as well, or would you come down a different way?
We sail back down.
You do. And what are you going to do then when you leave the boat? What's next?
Then is to see if I could get my boat license, my day skipper license.
And you had to have a few qualifications to go on to Eendracht. You got your STCW, is it?
No.
You don't need that for now.
No.
But that presumably is next on your list.
Yes. More experience is next on my list.
And are you still racing with New Moon?
Yeah.
We've got the classics coming up soon, very soon now. Are you going to be on New Moon, or are you going to be looking for a different boat to sail on?
I'm going to be on New Moon. Yep.
That was very, very definite there.
Yeah, I love that boat.
Oh, that's fantastic. Have you thought about helping to train others on it?
Yes. I'd like to help train other youngsters this year, because in this country, not much youngsters, want to go into the maritime industry, and I think that's crazy, because there's a lot of money in it. We could go around the world with it.
Yes, as we have seen Janella King sailing around the world at the moment under Alicia. So you want to be a marine engineer, you're studying it at the moment, you're doing all the right things. So what would you like to see in Antigua and Barbuda to help people like you, young people with the enthusiasm, the skill, the talent, to actually encourage them to sail and to get into the marine industry?
I would like to see more youngsters participating. It's because I don't think it's this lack of schools. I think it's just that they don't want to participate. Maybe they're afraid of the water, maybe their uncle drowned. And, that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't be the reason you don't want to do it. If you take the proper safety precautions, you could do it.
And that is a really good message. So one last question about this. Do you think there's one thing we could be doing in Antigua to actually encourage young people to be like you?
Well, start promoting sailing in schools, probably like advertise the sailing academy or different trips that help youngsters. And that would be probably it.
I think that would help, definitely. Nevin, thank you so much for joining me. I think you're going to have an amazing time, and I look forward to talking to you when you come back and hearing some more engineering, marine engineering. That's a pretty impressive career to be going for. And of course the sailing.
Yeah.
So Nevin, before we finally say goodbye, is there one thing in the sailing that you would like to achieve more than anything?
I would like to sail my own boat. I would like to own and captain my own vessel, preferably a J-class.
So Nevin Audain, he's off on a three-masted schooner. Three-masted? It's a three-masted schooner. He's going to be sailing, and we're going to hear a lot more of this young man. And if you think you'd like to sail, go along and see the National Sailing Academy. At the end of this video, there will be the email contact details. Ready?
Okay. I would like to thank the Caribbean Sail Training organization for sponsoring this trip on the Eendracht. And I would like to thank the Tiger Services for sponsoring my airline trip.